this was me clinging to the lectern, heart pounding, knees locked, shaking from top to toe about the speech I was about to give. Has anyone here ever felt like that? Good. And then this little voice kicks off in my head. Who the hell are you to stand in front of an audience and talk? What do you know about anything? You'll forget what you want to say. But then another voice starts up. Lynn, you have to give this speech. You are the project manager. It's your responsibility to share the results of this project. People expect you to speak. Damned if you do speak, damned if you don't. And I knew that I wasn't alone. I had colleagues who were all required to present, but always nervous about it. Speaking in public at conferences, oh my God, end of the world. Even last week, I was with a group of very experienced speakers, and they were telling me how nervous they get before they give a speech for fear of losing their jobs. Now, Mark Twain, and if he said it, it must be right, tells us that there are only two types of speaker. Those who get nervous and those who are liars. And I'm sure you've all heard the Seinfeld observation that most of us would rather be dead in the coffin than standing alongside, confidently delivering the eulogy. Even the latest YouGov data tells us that 2 in 3 British adults are afraid of speaking in public. And as if that's not bad enough, half of them would pass up their dream job rather than confront their fear. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. And I thought, this has gone on long enough, Lynn, you have to do something about it, she says. So I got my hands on absolutely everything I could find to read on the subject of getting rid of your nerves. And my goodness, there's a lot of it. Breathe. Not too much, you might pass out. Find a friendly face in the audience to talk to. Practice. Memorize your opening remarks. Take drugs. They're designing them in America, especially for public speakers. Fake it till you make it. Turn the spotlight away from you onto your audience. None of it was working. I was sitting back there now, heart pounding, it's not working. So then I heard Judi Dench talking about fear and nerves. And she said it's like petrol. If you can somehow channel the nerves, then they will unleash an energy, which is what you need to be in front of an audience. And that's when I thought, the interesting thing here, it's not about getting rid of your nerves. It's about working with your nerves. And so, like all good Toastmasters, I've come up with the 3 P's for befriending your nerves. Proportion, program, process. Proportion. We're all public speakers, aren't we? Every morning we get up, we go out, we talk to people. And we do it quite well most of the time. We have a message that we want to get across when we're talking to people. We might tell stories, toss in a bit of body language, vocal variety, maybe even some humour. But then you think about taking it to a bigger stage, a bigger audience. Panic! So we need to bring some proportion to this. What is the worst thing that we think realistically, not just in our wildest imagination, realistically might happen if we give this speech? And what are the costs of not giving it? Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because I think that you will find that the consequences of not giving a speech far outweigh the risks of giving it. It can impact relationships, your career, your sense of well-being. So proportion. Then we need some programming. We need to program our brains away from the survival instinct towards something more helpful, something more positive. We are hardwired to survive. So when the adrenaline's coursing around the system, that's our brain saying, uh-oh, danger alert. This is a stressy atmosphere. So what we need to do is the more we practice, the more we can program into our brains, this is good. There are benefits to this. Hey, I had a good time today. Reflecting on that and programming in those positive ideas so that things become easier. And finally, process micro steps. Find a friendly, supportive audience like this. Start with a specific skill that you want to work on. A bit like ploughing through the competent communication manual. Practice that skill. Invite feedback so that we can learn. And always keep a growth mindset. Because if public speaking is nothing else, it's always a work in progress. Damned if you do, unlikely. Damned if you don't, definitely.